Hey everyone. Alright, so today we're going to review a book that I pre-ordered a long time ago. It's the Uncanny XMen Omnibus Volume 5. It's got a lot of really good books in it, and a lot of extras, a lot of stuff in there I wasn't really, I was surprised that it was in there. So let's check this out. I'm going to focus on the positives of it. I do have a huge gripe with the book, but I don't want to deter anyone from actually picking it up. I'll do that last. We'll go ahead and do that last. All right, so here we go. This was the, I got this online off Amazon. Pretty cool book. It contains, which issues does it got here? All right, so what is it? 184 up through like 210, I believe, and then a bunch of additional content. You want to check that out. All right, so you got this super rad cover. It's a cover to X-Men 200, John Romita Jr. and Dan Green. I remember buying this shelf from a Thrifties in Atwater, California when it came out. Issue 200, that is, not the Omnibus. But yeah, this Omnibus, yeah, I got it, what, 2 days ago? I think 2 days ago it showed up on the doorstep. So got a chance to look through it. Like I said, at the very end, I'll go ahead and show you the two negatives. One of them, to me, is a huge deal. There's another one I just kind of, and I stopped looking. I really just stopped looking for anything, anything wrong with this. And it's just a weird, it's editorial. It's an editorial thing. And I haven't really caught anything in the, I got up on my shelf. I got Omnibus 3 for the Mutant Massacre. This is the one that fills, it would be Omnibus 4, and then this one, and then that would slide right into Mutant Massacre Omnibus, and then followed by, what is it, Fall of the Mutants, Inferno Prologue, the Inferno Omnibus, which is like twice the size as the Prologue, and then that one I got it followed by the Claremont Jim Lee, the Chris Claremont Omnibuses 1 and 2, which also contain the Wolf's Portatio X Factor run in X-Men by Claremont Omnibus 2, and then I got the Bishop's Crossing X-Men hardcover by Wills when Wills took over X-Men Epic run, and then a bunch of random stuff. After that. All right, so yeah, okay. Here I will start with a gripe. Okay, so there's a ton of Art Adams' work in here, and a lot of it I already have in, I think, a couple of the other omnibuses, and then also in other hardcover collections. Like I have like 3 different editions of the Long Shot series, which is all in here as well. You get to see a bunch of the books here. It's got stuff I've never owned before. Some of the stuff that's from, what is it? Let's see here. Marvel Masterworks. I never owned any of those books. I'm assuming it was exclusive content for maybe some of those hardcovers. But anyways, there's that one. Then you jump to 194. And then jumps up to 200. And then another Masterworks story. So there is some cool stuff in here. Then it jumps to the Nightcrawler long shot. And we also get the a lot of Arthur Adams books. So yeah, it starts off right here. Starts off with the Nimrod stuff. This is kind of the heart of John Romita Jr., to me at least, John Romita Jr.'s run as penciler of Uncanny X-Men, and it's all super fun work. I don't mind it one bit. This is the X-Men I grew up with. It was Romita Jr. followed by Silvestri. That was always, to me, that's always X-Men. Got into it junior high, I would say junior high, 6th grade. I was already neck deep in McFarlane work by the time that I started actually collecting X-Men books and reading X-Men books and all that. So I had buddies that were simping hard simping for X-Men. I pretty much was like, okay, I dig this stuff. You get sleepovers and stuff, and you get to go through friends' comic collections, and I'm like, man, I really need to start getting these. Pretty cool cover here. Got Bill Sienkiewicz, and it looks like inked by Dan Green. That's kind of a weird combo. Usually it would be the other way around. I know Sienkiewicz was doing a lot of guest inks over other artists, like who was it? I'm pretty sure he inked Rick Leonardi on a few books, fill-in issues. All right, so I'm gonna flip through these. Yeah, so this is all Romita Jr. I'm doing like massive page turns here because I don't want to keep you here more than maybe 10 minutes. This was always a cool cover. So this is it Rachel Summers? Yeah. It's been years since I've actually read these books. Nostalgia factor off the chart, though. This stuff's great. Great printing. Nice paper quality. Okay. Yeah, Uncanny XMen 197. Side note, the content of the Uncanny X-Men books in here, I was really excited that this was coming out because the only other way you could get it was there was 2 other trade paperbacks, and they're super pricey. They came out around 2013, I believe. One of them is a Ghost trade paperback, which I think has 184 through like 210. Obviously, what is it, 201 Baby Nathan Cable, aka Cable. First, I guess, first story, right? And yeah, that trade paperback's around $70, $100 used, if you can find it. And then the other one is, I know that it uses this cover with Doom. I don't recall the name of the trade, but it uses this, and it's an Epic Collection trade, and same thing. It's like a $70, $60-$70, and it's a I think it's got a $24 US price tag on it. So for a trade, it's pretty insane. They're both long out of print. I don't believe I've seen either one in the wild back when they were coming out. So, all right, yeah, and then you also get this this issue right here. I've never had this in any trade form. Matter of fact, I don't even know that I've ever owned the floppy to this book. No, that's not true. I had a beater copy at one point. Probably still have it. I got long boxes full of my beater readers, and I rarely go through them at all. They're buried. Got all my key issue long boxes and short boxes on top of those, so I don't really get to them that often. So yeah, issue 198, Barry Windsor Smith. Awesome artwork, awesome colors. This one is not in. There is a. You'll see later. There is another issue that's actually in that Weapon X, the Wolverine Weapon X collection. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is with a lot of these omnibuses, they're reusing, and I know it works in a linear fashion as far as storytelling is concerned, but it's just I don't need to own 5 copies of Longshot in a collected edition or 3 versions of. The Weapon X one-off fill-in issue by Barry Windsor Smith. I love this splash. Yep, so we're still on Romita Jr. here. I like the fact that I can really see the inks here. This is really cool. A lot of this stuff I would kind of just sort of pass over as reading it, as a kid, and you would see a lot of the thick to thins and the tapered line art and a lot of these. I'm not sure if that's quill, like a thick to thin, like a heavy-handed line, or if that's a brush, but I really dig that kind of look. And he was doing a lot of that stuff too on Silvestri. I know Romita Jr. is very judgmental about this older work, but like these layouts are great. If you were to take any modern artist and take a lot of these layouts and just polish them up with a little bit of that, give them some of that new age frosting, this stuff would pop. Still pops. All right, here's what I'm talking about. All right, New Mutant Special Edition #1. I have another collection. It's the Marvel Visionaries Art of Art Adams. It has essentially everything Art Adams related in this book is already in that book as well. Plus, I got the hardcover of the Longshot series, so it's just there is a lot of content in here in this book that you might already own in another collected version of. So I'm gonna skip way over this. This is a huge book too, by the way. The Omnibuses and this issue, this New Mutant Special is an oversized book. I don't recall how many pages, probably 54 or 68 or something like that. All right, let's keep going. Holy moly. So much Art Adams. Revered by all comic artists, I will say that. So a lot to learn, a lot to enjoy and appreciate. I mean, that right there, that's a thick ass comic. Right, and then it's followed by, ta-da, another Art Adams book. So you got Giant Size X-Men Annual 9, which again I already have in that other collected edition. And I'm going to add on that Marvel has the Arthur Adams Omnibus coming out pretty soon, which has all of this stuff again. You know, and then it also contains everything in that other trade I'm talking about, the Visionaries book. So this is not why I was buying this book. It was for the Uncanny X-Men books, because this is the X-Men annual. It's the Uncanny X-Men issues that I was missing between the gaps of Omnibus 4 and the Mutant Massacre Omni. Here we go. So back to X-Men books. So it's this right here, to me, that's filler. Okay, so if you already have this stuff, I mean, that's quite a bit of pages. That's, you know, I'm going to guess 125 pages of content. All right, so we get to issue 200. It's the Trial of Magneto, right? Yeah. So this stuff's awesome. If you're a fan of early John Romita Jr., great way to revisit it. Yeah, this stuff's great. And this was an oversized book, so this is pretty large. I've always loved, with her outfit, these lines they use. They use so many of these. It's almost like almost like Klaus Jensen with the folds and stuff in Dark Knight Returns. That's what it really reminds me of. On like Batman's Cape and Cowl, Jensen was doing a lot of that kind of brushwork or thick and thins that I don't see a lot of that these days. I try to put it in my own work here and there, but I think that it gets masked because of so many fades and dynamic rim lighting and stuff. It kind of hides it. But yeah, this stuff's awesome. You get this little thing right here. I haven't read it. See, if you like words, if you're not like me, you can read a thing about what Claremont's ideas, thoughts, and opinions were at the time. All right, and then X-Men 201. This book is a floppy, is a big money book. Also, again, I've only ever found it in that one trade paperback, which is the Ghost trade paperback. This one also, by the way, I'm going to point this out. I think Will Spartaccio, so it's Rick Leonardi pencils with Wils's inks, and Will Spartaccio, by the way, obviously is a giant talent in comics, and one of my main influences for sure. But came up early as an inker, and he also inked this here, and also had inked the Long Shot miniseries over Art Adams, and has forever been overlooked as the contributor inker on that. So, and Rick Leonardi's style is badass. This stuff still holds up to me today. I prefer Leonardi's work on those fill-in issues on the New Mutant books, and then also on the fill-in issues on these Uncanny X-Men books, compared to his 2099 Spidey run. I personally didn't care for it too much. It felt too open and rushed to me. I don't think he was really an artist that you can necessarily slap on a monthly, and get consistent quality out of. But I'm okay, getting these fill-in books and stuff. It was always awesome to see his work. So yeah, so there's Leonardi there. Flips back to Romita Jr. Al Williamson is the guest inker. Al Williamson, another one of those inkers who is also a fantastic artist. Al Williamson did that Star Wars Return of the Jedi that we all gush over. All right, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, so you got the David Hasselhoff Beyonder character going on here. I'm gonna skip a bunch of pages here. Yep, then we jump to this one here. For some reason, this floppy issue had always evaded me. My only the only time I was able to read this was I had a buddy who had the whole run. He had no gaps in his collection. So when I'd go hang out with him, I would check out the books I was missing and then call it a day. I wasn't really a completist way back when I was 11, 12, 13 years old. I was just happy with the ones that my dad graciously allowed me to purchase from grocery stores and pharmacies. All right. All right. Yeah, and then we get to this fill-in issue here. June. I'm going to say Bridgman. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. Might be Brigman, but June. Don't really care for their work too much personally. I do like this layout. This feels like something Travis Trey would do today as far as layout is concerned. A little bit of like I don't know, a Dave Dorman kind of layout maybe. I don't know, but it just feels uninspired. It feels like art school knows their biz, knows correct anatomy, knows correctness in their work, has a decent approach to lighting and stuff, but there's nothing really pushing comics boundaries. It's all very safe, and it's never really. I think June did a couple fill-in issues, if I remember, and they never did anything for me. It was more like it's one of those issues you kind of do without. Here we go, X-Men 205. Yeah, so this entire book right here, I already have. Again, it's in the Weapon X hardcover, the oversized. So I actually have all these pages in an oversized edition with the exact same color treatment and everything. So, but it's a great story. If you don't have it, this is another place you can get it. X-Men Omnibus 5. This is. I always have to stop and look at that stuff every time we go through them. All right, let's see. 206. I think this might be the first Freedom Force issue. Freedom Force is like the the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, but like shifting over to be a force of authority, right? Yeah, this is fun. I always am really interested in different ways that artists draw the Blob. For me, no one does it better than Silvestri. He just had a great way of showing like how he's this huge, bigger than life character, and then also giving him kind of a playful appearance. And but Romita Jr. does a really good job. And Leonardi, Rick Leonardi has always done a fantastic job of drawing him as well. All right, we're going to skip over 207, iconic cover. I did an homage to this. I haven't released yet. It's going to be for my 94 comic. And when I do release it, it'll be fun to look at for everybody, I'm sure. Another homage, because I've never done homages before. Yeah, so this is all cool. Who inked this, though? This feels like... I'm not sure if Williamson stayed on the book at the time. No, it was Dan Green. Okay, I was like, it doesn't really feel like Williamson to me. We jump to here. I love this layout. Every artist at some point who draws superhero comics is going to do this layout. It doesn't matter if it's a crop right here or a crop right there. Here a crop, there a crop. Everywhere, crop. All right, we got Romita Jr. and Green again. This doesn't feel like Romita. The eyes do. Yep. So he's still on the book. This is all pre Mark Silvestri, post who was it? Paul Smith, right? Paul Smith illustrated my favorite X-Men comic of all time, 175, 176. What was a double size issue? 176. Or was it 175? My brain is not working right today. Alright, so yeah, we got more of the Nimrod story. This feels very similar to what Romita would be doing with line, his line selective use, like the ways that he's shading certain things. And these speed lines, like super chunky. The kind of thing you'd see in like the Daredevil run, I guess, is where I'm stumbling trying to talk. Okay, here I'm gonna. All right, so it's probably pretty close to the end. I'm not gonna go much longer than this. Nightcrawler miniseries, it has 1 through 4. Never picked it up. Could really care less. Personally, it is Dave Cockrum art. This feels like a Saturday morning cartoon to me. The characters were even very cartoony. It feels like, man, I don't even know. I really don't even know. Not like cool cartoon, more like very, like Smurfs, Kubert type stuff. You know what I mean? Not Andy Kubert. I'm talking like the cartoon from, based on the Atari game. It's just super goofy. Super goofy. I just never. Yeah. I could have done without this. I really don't care. I'll probably come back and read it someday. But it's not really my thing. I don't know if it has relevance. She got a Michael Jackson shirt. Yeah, I'm not sure if it has relevance to the actual story. I didn't catch anything within it that carried over to the regular series. So if there was any reference, it went over my head. So anyways, could do without it. It's a pretty large chunk. This is not even the whole thing. I mean, it's a pretty large chunk of this book. And so for me, could it, again, my main reason for getting this omnibus is the, there we are. I mean, that's a pretty large chunk. Then you get the long shot series. Already got it. I'm going to jump past all of it. The long shot miniseries. If you don't have it, though, this is a great place you can get it. And you get all that cool Barry Windsor Smith and Rick Leonardi fill-ins and really cool pages drawn by John Romita Jr. And if you're a fan of June, you got some June pages in here, too. Alright, so is this the other annual or is this still... No, it's still long shot. Okay, so there's issue 6. It's cool, so make a mental note. Here's the cover right here. In the back of here in the gallery, Art Adams actually painted this, and originally was supposed to use the painting for this cover, but instead redrew it and did a pen and ink job of the same layout right here. Okay, so we'll skip to that. Alright, let's get through here. Is issue 6. That's the end of it. Boom! First time I found this in a collected edition book. I don't know where else it would exist. Alan Davis, one of my favorite artists of all time, draws New Mutants Annual number 2, first appearance of Psylocke. Not the hypersexualized Psylocke that everyone knows. This is when she was still just Betsy Braddock, the sister of Captain Britain. All right. So, and you get a Mojo story here. Not really filling too much. Alan Davis draws a really, really wicked spiral. I'm not really digging his Mojo, though. Sometimes when these characters are super goofy like this, kind of Mad Hattery, he doesn't really get a really good grasp on them unless he's drawing them for like months at a time. Yeah, but obviously Onage, he spent a long, long time drawing Captain Britain, so he had this down. Even Marvel UK, not even counting the Excalibur books. Alright, so we're going to skip through these. So yeah, Alan Davis, New Mutants Annual 2. This is a pretty awesome book. It's a cool read, cool story, awesome art, great inks. I'm not sure if it was Paul Neary or Mark Farmer on inks, but they're both 110% tailored to be inking Alan Davis pencils. They got that sweet, soft line. They understand his rendering. I don't think there's another inker who could, ink him better. All right, and then we're going to skip here, and here's more Art Adams, which again I already have. If you don't have this, so you get the New Mutant Special, the X-Men Annuals 9 and 10. Here's issue 10, 9 we had looked at previously, plus the Art Adams long shot miniseries. I'm going to skip through all this. And then I think that's the end of it. So yeah, I get my what is it? My 6 or 7 run gap that I was missing between those 2 other hardcovers, which would still be worth the price of admission in my opinion for this, just because this collected edition still runs less than if you were to buy near mint copies of those loose copy edition books missing. And it's printed on very nice paper and everything else. So another June story here, again uninspired, but for me at least it doesn't make me want to sit down and grab a pencil, is what I'm saying. I guess that's a better way to say it. But definitely professional art. It's just, there's a certain flair I look for in comic art, and if it doesn't, if it's not a banger, I'm not gonna buy into it. All right. These are interesting. I never owned these. Marvel Age Annual. There was a one-off page and one-off page. It's some telephone story where they're trying to call each other, and then they miss the call somehow. So yeah, Ron Friends, Dan Greeninks. Interesting to see that. I've never seen those before. A couple pinups. You got a Dave Sim and a Ken Stacy. Not sure what those are from. Rick Leonardi poster. This is an old school Dark Phoenix poster here. And then let's see, a Bob Larkin pinup of Storm here. Some of these are scans for sure. All right, here we go. And then you got some original art. I'm not going to read down here because a lot of this are people who actually own them that they give thanks to, and I don't want to give thanks to them. Thanks for allowing them to use your scans. All right, we got the layout. Art Adams does actually supply them with the files of a lot of these scans. So this was the layout to the New Mutant Special right here, the original layout. Super cool to look at. And you can really, it's funny in his layouts, these are all pencil art pages, and there's layouts later. You can really see, you can really see the Michael Golden influence with a lot of the posturing of the figures. Very Michael Golden-esque. So I'm glad Michael Golden exists, because without Mike Golden we wouldn't have all this awesome Arthur Adams work, and without Arthur Adams we wouldn't have all the awesome artists of today. Yeah, so these are all, they're probably too hard to see in the video, but anyways, there's a ton of pencil pages here. All right, and then we get some inked pages that people have purchased and supplied scans for them to use. And you get some character design stuff. These were designs for different characters. Supposed to be Enchantress designs that they were going to use. Shadowcat, some Kitty Pryde designs here. The original cover sketch layout. Looks like maybe an 8x10. This was the original layout for the cover to the X-Men Annual 9. Some more pages by Art Adams. Some pages by Rick Leonardi and Will Spartacio. These are really cool. And it's funny, you can really see the beginnings on a lot of these fades and the cross-hatching. It's like, oh, I can see where that comes into play later on in his run on Uncanny X-Men. A lot of the fades with, on biceps and pectoral muscles and things like that. You can see a lot of this stuff where he brought it in later on in his own work. So that's cool. Barry Windsor Smith design, Lady Deathstrike and the Reaver. That's cool. But I got this in several other editions too. This is just the largest printing of it. This piece here is usually printed smaller in most books. So this is cool to see it this large. Let's see, you got more pieces here. Lewis Williams tryout pages for Ghosts. I got some Romita Jr. pages here, Dan Greeninks. Those are cool. Some of the Cockrum from that Nightcrawler series I don't care for. Let's see here. Carl Potts design for Longshot, actually. And then you get to read Ann Nesenti's, call it the Longshot Bible. I don't know what they published this in, but I think this is like all about him and his maybe Mojo World. A lot of early designs of Longshot here. This is crazy. All I see is Shatterstar when I look at this piece right here. I'm like, oh my god, Shatterstar. And I know Shatterstar. I know Rob based him off Mojo's World, so this might have been an inspirational piece for Rob designing the character. Let's see, we got a bunch of, and really none of these characters make huge these are all characters for Mojo World, and they don't really make any appearances. It's cool to see them. This feels almost more like the character design sheets for something like Golden Axe, you know, like something from like a Genesis game or something. Yeah, here's one of the things I figured out. All right, so it says Arthur Adams designs for people and demons populating the world of Longshot, including early versions of Mojo 1, 2, and 4, and Major Domo number 2. I'm like, wait a minute, 1, 3, and 4. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. They even have the numbers. And right here it says 1, 2, and 4. That would be this one, this one, this one. And it says and Major Domo 2. And it made my brain melt for a second. I go, no, hold on. No, this should be 1, 3, and 4, not 2 and 4. So there's one editorial mistake. And I just stopped there. And as soon as I cracked this open, I found that. After the largest major mistake, which I'm going to show you guys before I hit end video. This is awesome. But yeah, character designs. Man, it's so badass. Art Adams is so good. Congrats, Eric De Los Santos. Apparently he's the owner of both of these because they supplied the designs and this one. They supplied the scans of these pieces. Thumbnails, ton of thumbnails. If you're not really artistically inclined, you might not find any interest in this stuff. We got some scans here from the Longshot series of pencils prior to being inked by the wicked awesome talented Will Spartaccio. We got the layout, and this, he could have probably just taken this straight to inks the way that this, you know, looks. I mean, really all the necessary information is here for these characters. So that cover, some other, here it is. Okay, here's that painting that was originally going to be the painting for 6, and they explain that up here, and then it says that he opted to switch it out and just go with the fully inked version of this instead. I think this is a badass illustration, to be honest. The colors, the anatomy, everything about it is great. So, yeah. Yeah, if they ever do like a reprint, like it's many, they should possibly think about using this for, you know, a reprint of issue 6. That'd be really cool to see this in print. In a floppy, you know, as long as art is compensated for it, that is. All right, we got Marvel Age 31, Dave Cockrum cover. This has all this goofy, man, Saturday morning cartoon stuff. He didn't put after Frazetta. I don't know, maybe that wasn't a big of a deal in the early 80s with the homages. This is definitely a Frank Frazetta painting homage. All right, then we get a little bit more. Some of the pages from was it Marvel Age Mag, and then we get some reprint covers here. X-Men Alpha Flight, Asgardian Wars, some more stuff. This was the first trade paperback I owned, the Longshot trade, before I bought the floppies, and yeah, 1989. Yep. The glue in this was terrible. All the pages fell out, so I had to consistently read through it like broken glass. Don't let the pages fall out. This is a cool, a gifted piece. Art Adams drew, was editor Anna Senti here. Nice pinup. Reminds me a little bit of Joni Future. It reminds me a little bit of Monkey Man O'Brien here. And then he does a pinup here. You know, Teddy Bear Man, this and that. Let's see, we got some Alan Davis art here. Danger Room Archive pinup from something. You get some cover gallery here. Yeah, none of this really screams at me. Got some Gary Frank covers. Matt Ryan. Doesn't really do a whole lot for me. Got some Jay Lee here. Got the Jay Lee pieces here. Early Jay Lee. This is like when he was kind of transitioning from the Bisley to the more photorealistic. So he has a little bit of the Bisley detail still going on here. I would say these were probably drawn around the time that he started this Hellshock Volume 2. I would guess, just from looking at his rendering here. So, and then recolored versions of the Rick Leonardi cover and the John Romita Jr. and then recolored from other collections. Some recolors there. All right, so I'm gonna end this on a negative note. All right, so here's the book. Here's the book right here, right? Okay, so on my shelf, we got XMen Omnibus. The one's visible, the other ones that got buried. So we got Omnibus 3 and 4. Okay, here's the spine. Okay, Uncanny XMen 3 and 4 with credits of the majority contributors. Here's the spine to 5. So you got this itty bitty 5. All this stuff is off center. The jacket is flush. It's flush edge with the print with the bleed. This here is shifted this way and too small. Same thing with the logo. Okay, so on the shelf, it looks like a mess. It looks like a mess on the shelf for someone run. You know, and they still have more volumes. They got like volume 6 and 7 coming up, right? So this is the ugly duckling of the bunch, and I'm just kind of curious. I wonder if, you know, my buddy Andy came into town. He and his son went up to a show up in Phoenix and stopped by, and I was showing him. I was like, you know, I really think that the designer possibly Control V'd this shit. I think that this was originally, you know, this should have lined up. Get rid of the. I think this was supposed to have been lined up, and these maybe increased in size a bit, and then this as well, because they certainly were not shy about the bleeds on the spine or the inner fold on these, just like these. So I think this right here is a quality control issue, and I would almost say for volumes 6 and 7. I would stick to this error, because if you flip back to the corrected one, and by the way, I did check the other one. Our shop has the direct market editions, which has the Barry Windsor Smith cover, right? Same font, tiny. You know, what's that, like a 27? These right here are like a 50, 55, I think. So, yeah. Anyways, that's my gripe. On the shelf, it's ugly as hell next to it. On the positive, didn't have to spend $300 to get this content in a loose form. So, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.